Good morning again. This is Shindo. Normally I don't do two videos about basically the same subject within an hour of each other, but I found this so shocking that I couldn't resist. Ann Coulter, who has written many books, a conservative writer, columnist. You may be familiar with her. If not, well, here's a picture of her, and as you can see, she looks about as crazy as she is. But Ann Coulter represents a very sizable portion of the kind of people that voted for Donald Trump, those conservatives on the right who find Donald Trump to be just the embodiment of everything good. This is from a site called Red State. This is the title of the article. Now, I'm going to have two articles here about Ann Coulter. One's much more recent. This one is from back in September. Now, I found these articles because I typed into Google Donald Trump worshiper on stage for the video that I just did about an hour ago. If you don't think this is for real and it's no big deal, I think that someone who is very often on Fox News and other news networks that does conservative commentary all the time, considering how big Ann Coulter is and what she said, I think that this is certainly relevant if you feel like the other video I did is no big deal because it's just some crazy common guy. Ann Coulter certainly isn't. And this is the title of the article. Quote, I worship him, unquote, and, quote, would die for him, unquote, says Coulter of Trump. Well, Ann, now that you mention it, Ann Coulter likes to say things that she considers shocking. It's her shtick. When you do that for years, you can lose perspective on things. You lose sight of if you're cleverly being shocking and therefore rocking the boat or just saying stupid, awful crap that you kind of actually think now. The lines blur. And for Ann Coulter, 2016 has been exceedingly blurry. Not just for Ann Coulter, folks. Now, of course, you'll find both of the articles that I'm going to do in the description box. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. The lines between admiration and worship are blurring all over the place when it comes to Donald Trump. She said she'd be fine with Trump performing abortions in the Oval Office if it meant he'd stick to his plan of getting rid of immigrants and immigration. She replaced God with Trump in the title of her new book. She went on a Comedy Central roast for some reason and was terrible, and now she said this in a podcast. Quote, I worship him like the North Koreans worship the dear leaders. Yes, I would die for him. The conservative commentator joked to Political's off-message podcast. That's a joke? Is anybody laughing? I'm not. She always plays the joking card, or people play it for her. But anyone who watches Ann knows she's not really joking. She's half joking. She's blurry joking. She kind of means it. She doesn't kind of mean it. She means it. However, with all that being said, maybe she's onto something. Maybe saying something for the shock value is exactly what the world needs, a kick in the pants to get things going. Am I right? In which case, let me shock you by saying something. Later you said I joked it. You would die for Donald Trump like he was Kim Jong-un, Ann? Well, we weren't going to bring it up, but since you did, now that you mention it, if that's on the table, then please, please, by all means, do try to get Trump installed as leader of North Korea. Remember, this was September. What did you think I was going to say? So Ann Coulter, who represents, trust me, a vast majority of conservatives, has said that she worships Donald Trump and that she would die for him. But she's just joking, folks. It's only a joke. I mean, lighten up, folks. It's just a joke. Now, more recent, February 17th. This is from PJ Media. Of course, as I already said, you will find both of these articles, the links to them, in the description box. Ann Coulter. Trump press conference makes him, quote, head of church. After President Donald Trump's infamous, quote, fake news press conference on Thursday, conservative author Ann Coulter seems to go off the deep end. Quote, Trump is already head of state, unquote, Coulter tweeted. Quote, after that press conference, in my eyes, he's now head of church. That tweet received over 2,600 retweets and 11,600 likes. Trump is already, I'm reading from the actual tweet. Trump is already head of state. After that press conference, in my eyes, he's now head of the church. Coulter is a Christian, more specifically a Presbyterian, so she undoubtedly knows better. According to the Bible, Jesus Christ came to bring the kingdom of God to the earth, and the very act that designates whether a person is a Christian or not is the declaration, Jesus is Lord. Romans 10:9. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is the Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Jesus, not Donald Trump, is the head of the church. Indeed, Coulter has written that Christianity fuels everything I write, so she likely knows this and merely meant head of church for internet viral effect. Even so, that's rather epic trolling, with the risk that many Christians will take her less seriously. After all, this is the commentator who wrote Godless, the Church of Liberalism. But even in a radio interview after her tweet, Coulter referred to the president as, quote, the Emperor God Trump, unquote. It didn't sound like she was joking. Check out the audio below. The Emperor God Trump, that's Keck. That's Keck crap. That's Keck bullshit. That's these Keck fools who say this. Trust me. I know as much as somebody who's not a Keckist knows about these folks. This Keck worship, which is worship of Donald Trump, which I have been talking about for a few months now. The more Coulter becomes a mere cheerleader for Trump rather than a conservative commentator, the more she will lose credibility among those who once counted her as a good conservative pundit, and that's a shame. There is a heck of a lot worse going on than just Ann Coulter who's coming out and saying these things. There is a movement, and it's growing, and it's becoming more mainstream day after day. I wake up and there's new crazy bullshit that I have to see on the news. And folks, Lucy and I aren't going to be here for you forever pointing this stuff out. You're going to have to find it out for yourself. And God damn it, you're going to have to wake up. If you think this is a joke, it's not. If you think the idea that Donald Trump is being literally worshipped is something amusing, then you're not getting it, and you're part of the problem. This was predicted a very long time ago. And as we see this progress, we will see this man, Donald Trump, become this godlike figure. And that's nothing new. If you look at ancient Rome, the emperors were worshipped as gods. This is nothing new. It's just new to us here in the United States of America. It's just a matter of time, folks. You'll either worship Donald Trump or you'll be regarded as an apostate. Out of your fear for Muslims coming into this country and somehow creating some kind of Sharia law here in the United States, you are going to accept something that could potentially and will be much, much worse. Donald Trump being called by a conservative writer who is well respected. She is calling him the Emperor God Trump. If that doesn't disturb you, it should. This is Shindo. Have a good Sunday.